All right, Clearcut. I'll go over rollout real quick. Pretty standard, to be honest, but you have one of two options. The main option is honestly just go through main here. You could also go through right. The demo goes through main. It's a little bit quicker. You can do one jump here, do a second jump off the wall onto the pack, and then you can run up this right-hand side called Valley onto mid. And then your combo goes through this the right-hand side here, this elbow, and then walks right behind them like this. The main thing of this map that you have to worry about and like make sure that you keep in mind is that these shacks are how you win and lose the game. The most important thing on this map is high ground. You need to have people on high ground, and you need to deny their people off of their high ground. That's really how you win the mid. If you can get their people off this high ground, then you can push onto their high ground and then bully them into a corner, or just kill them, right? If you can't do that, then you're probably going to lose your high ground, and then you're going to get bullied into a corner, and then it's not going to be very fun. So how do you do that? Number one, your demo. You're going to shoot a couple stickies to the demo, kind of standard Koth things, right? Shoot a sticky or two onto the demo. And then once you see people get onto the top left high ground, then that is who you start shooting. Your main priority on this mid is number one, don't let them get across point. And then number two, don't make sure you bully them off of the high ground, right? Make sure you're constantly hitting them for 40 damage stickies, 50 damage stickies, whatever you can do. And make sure, one thing I see a lot of demos do is they use pipes to try and spam these people off. Don't use pipes. Use stickies, right? It's a lot easier. It's like the perfect curve to just lob a sticky over and it'll hit basically anything on that shack. Just use your stickies. Make sure that, you know, whoever's on there gets bullied off. If you do significant damage, call it out. And then you can do one of two things. You can have a soldier bomb it, either from top right or left side. Doesn't really matter where. But have a soldier bomb it and take control of it while the enemy team is, you know, backing up and getting heals. And then he can use their high gun to kind of bully them out and push them forward. Or you can have a scout do the same thing, either from jumping up like this or whatever the case may be, and bullying or potentially even killing the person that's maybe waiting for an arrow like this, right? A lot of times if you're taking 50, 60 damage, you're going to kind of hide back here, or maybe drop down like this. And if your scout's quick enough, then you might be able to get a kill there. For your soldier placements, I definitely recommend having a soldier on top of the of your own shack, just to take control of the high ground. Spam anybody that's on this side of the point, and just spam anybody that's on the point itself. You can also try spamming the people that are on shack. I think it's more worthwhile for your demo to make sure that those people on shack are gone. It's just easier for the demo to shoot that while you shoot this left-hand side and the mid side of the point. Your other soldier is a little bit more free roam. He can stay back a little bit and spam like this. He can go over to the left-hand side and spam like this and spam the people that are on their side, or even play a little bit closer like this. And if anybody tries to fight you, you can kind of like aggressively fight them. You can also just make this jump as a soldier, which is really nice. You can also just back up, you know, get the mini pack or whatever if you need. But yeah, having one soldier on each side of the map is pretty good. Your pocket scout should really be playing the high ground if possible. If like they're doing a really good job of spamming you out, then try and bully the point a little bit more, right? Like if their demo is really just spamming top right, then you can play the point and try and be a little bit more aggressive because he's, you know, spending so much time over there. And then your flank scout, again, it's kind of just filter or filler. You know, you can play left, you can play kind of point, you can play top right, and your pocket scout plays point. You can kind of switch it up a little bit. It's pretty versatile. High bombs are very good on this map. There's a lot of walls to high bomb off of, right? These walls, that wall. You know, just a bunch of ways to do a really high bomb, right? You can land back behind them, and maybe somebody chases you. You can get packs, take their packs, which is really nice. Or you can just go really high and just land on them, right? That also works. What else? What else? As a medic, be careful of taking a lot of damage. Your safest option is going to be playing around this sort of area right here behind the shack. You'll be guarded by the people that are on your shack, right? Like your teammates on shack, right? And then you're guarded by most spam damage. The only way anything kills you is if your people top right miss, or if you get timinged where like they go forward and then somebody comes in on you. But generally speaking, this is a pretty good way of kind of healing the people on the mid. You can heal your combo scout and then probably your pocket or your roamer top right, as well as your demo on point. The insider shack is pretty important as well. The idea is, let's say you win the mid, right? Like they wipe or whatever, you have full liberad. The idea is to play inside the shack here and kind of make sure both the doors are covered, right? So most likely your demo is going to be like this, right? Maybe watching a trap or something on Saw or Valley or something like that. And you'll have a scout, like a flank scout or something, maybe roaming around on this left-hand side, maybe playing their shack with your roamer and getting aggressive calls on, if their people are coming left side. And then if anybody's coming on the right-hand side, they'll call it out and then maybe back up, get some buffs. You also have probably a pocket soldier on your shack as well. The idea is you cover this side of the point, and then the people that are on top of the shack, like a soldier or a scout or something like that, will cover the back end, right? And that makes the spot pretty fortified. It's kind of hard to get in unless like most of the people on your team kind of miss a little bit, right? And they just don't die in time. But you have a lot of room here to work with, believe it or not. And with the mini pack, it helps as well. But you have to make sure both doors are covered, right? You have to make sure somebody's up here so nobody like sneaks behind from upper, like onto your medic, and then somebody's like on the point, which your demo should be. So, yeah, that's kind of the whole thing about this map is, the shacks are literally how you win this map, right? Like you got to take control of your shack, of their high ground if possible, or bully them off their high ground, and then once you're done bullying them off and they're gone or whatever, then you can bunker in shack and wait for them to do something essentially and waste time while they while you guys capture the point and run down the clock essentially. So yeah, that's basically it. You could potentially do a forward hold on this map. I don't know if the meta has changed since I last played, but the original idea was having your demo, your pocket, basically your combo hold these two doors here. Well, three doors technically, because that's also a door. So these three doors, right? Maybe your demo holds main, your soldier and your pocket scout holds left, and then your demo rotates over if need be, and then your flank, your roamer and your flank scout hold the right hand side, make sure nobody gets through here. Your flank scout can really be with your demo and make sure nobody comes through main, because your soldier can kind of solo hold this right hand side. You can hold a little bit deep, and if a lot of people are coming through, call it back up, make sure you don't die. And yeah, that's kind of the way you do the forward hold. If you lose anybody in this forward hold, you must leave. You cannot hold this forward hold with 5 people, unlike some other maps like Bagel. I don't know if you guys have played that map yet or have reviewed that map. But Bagel, you can hold theoretically with 5 people. This map, you just cannot. The doors are too wide. There's too many different angles. It's really impossible to hold with 5 people. So if you lose somebody in the forward hold, leave and just hold standard on top of it. Let's see, anything else? I did say the high bombs are a very good option. The other option is also pogoing across from the shack. Me bad jumper XD. But yeah, just pogoing across, over onto the medic. Just don't hit that, obviously. But pogoing is really good too. If they're holding pretty far back, then you're basically in a full blind spot, right? You're going to surprise them with how fast you go, which is a really good idea. If you want to go like really fast into a sack, right? And if you do it correctly, if you can learn the angle, you can kind of go really fast, just right into their combo, right? Like just right past the demo into their whole team. So that's really good. So if you can learn this, jump as a roamer or a pocket, but mainly as a roamer, pogo off that, right into their shack, it's really good. Going behind this map is pretty good as well. Having a soldier behind, or maybe even a scout behind. I don't recommend scouts behind when you're playing Koth, unless you're helping your soldier go behind. Then maybe, but like generally speaking, you want your soldier to be behind, if anything, and then your scout plays with the combo on point. Because having two scouts kind of deny everything and hold the high grounds and stuff like that is really, really, really rough. If you want to leave mid, your best options are through the saw here, or through honestly, all three doors are kind of not the worst thing in the world. Valley kind of sucks because it's really easy to be chased this way. Like you can really get bombed into here and kind of get clobbered here pretty easily. So you got to be wary of people bombing. Like if they've lost a soldier already, then sure, you can go Valley. Otherwise, saw is just the quickest way to get out, right? You can go out like this, and then you're mostly safe from any sort of bombs. It's really hard to get to you here unless like their soldier does a god bomb or like gets in really freely from top left. And then you can leave through this side as well. It's a little bit hard because spam is really easily gathered here. You can really, like as a soldier, you can kind of destroy anybody that comes through this doorway, like even if you're like this, right? So just be wary of that. Anything else I can think of? Sticky traps. Oh, what's up? Disad. As a medic, probably your best option is somewhere near saw. This is kind of default you should go to. If you, for some reason, end up over there, then again, just leaving through here and just holding like this behind your tower here is probably your best bet, because you could just leave like this, grab the pack if need be. But you really want to hold close to one of these two doors, or I guess three doors, right? You don't want to play too far forward as a medic. It's very easy to be caught on this map. Soldier bombing really fast and really high, demo bombs. It's just really easy to be like caught up with and get get chased. So you just want to be close to the door so you can leave immediately if sacks are happening or whatever. Yeah, kind of like honestly, when I played, like sniper wasn't super great, even though the sight lines were good. The main reasons are because like it's really easy to be pressured as a sniper on this map. Like for instance, this is technically an angle, right? But also technically not, because like the only angle really is like the demo. And yeah, that is a good angle, but like if you have control of their high ground, or at least like a soldier there, then you can call it really early and you can even just go for the kill really quickly. Valley angle kind of just sucks. There's like nothing here apart from if anybody's holding both of the high grounds, which sometimes there is. But generally speaking, it's not the best angle. And then over here, kind of the same problem. The towers kind of block most of the stuff here. Because most of the time they're going to be behind or in their shack here, right? So you can probably shoot the people up top, but that's kind of it, right? So the angles aren't bad, but it's also a little bit rough to navigate as a sniper on this map. So the spawn rooms are back here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a big run. There's a lot of ground to cover between the spawn and getting to mid. So that's also the problem of being chased. Like that idea of being chased is pretty common because there's just so much ground to cover before you get to spawn, or before you're like truly safe, right? Because if you're like back behind the saw here, in this area right here, you're still not safe, right? You can be chased pretty deep here. Only when you're like in this sort of area are you like really truly safe. So yeah, I don't think there's anything else I can really think of. Yeah, I can do sticky traps. Sticky traps on this map are, I mean, they're good. They're very kind of obvious, to be honest with you. Like if you look at this area like this, right? If you think about sticky traps and where people will push across, number one, the box, right? This is like a common thing for pretty much any sort of Koth map, right? Just anything central, you'll trap. Like on Viaduct, you'll trap your rock or their rock or whatever, right? Their shack, you can sticky up their corner right here, or you can sticky up like maybe this fence right here. Honestly, I've played this map for 3 seasons straight, and I've this sticky trap right here is like super common, and like I've not got a single kill with it. It's weird because it's like it looks like it's a good trap, but like everybody kind of knows it's a trap, so nobody really ever dies to it. But I mean, you can still use it, right? Like just put it there just in case something happens. But yeah, true. But I mean, sometimes not really, because you could just go wide, right, like this, and then it's kind of just doing nothing. A lot of times, that's how you just counter a trap like that, and kind of counter everything that's on this shack here. Is that like you just simply go wide and attack from the left hand side. That being said, sticking the tower is really good because that is a very common strategy. You'll go wide from the shack, and you'll go over to the right over here, and then come up this way, and then that trap is really good for that reason. Same thing with the trap right here. There's always soldiers and scouts trying to bomb off this angle and kind of play off this angle like this. It's a very much a free kill. For some deeper traps, this rock sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. It kind of depends if they clear it, obviously, right? If they don't clear it, then honestly, you'll probably get a med kill, because meds tend to rotate like if they come from Valley, they'll rotate like this and go straight over here, and they'll just run straight into it and they'll die, which is really good. Sticking up the walls, or like the corner right here, is pretty good too. Like for instance, you're coming up from Valley or whatever, and then you want to take, get the high ground, and then there's a trap right there. You just blow them up. It's pretty good. The trap on the right hand side is pretty good. Sometimes people push through. Like for instance, if their team is really good at holding this right hand side, then you can come out the left hand side using both these doors, right? Your combo comes through the left hand, like the lower, and then your flank comes through the top, or something like that, right? And just take control of this side if they're holding aggressively there. Be wary of the light trap. I don't know if they fixed it. Let me see, because it used to happen where the light was bright enough for like it kind of just ate the sticky a little bit, and you couldn't really see it unless you like look straight up. It looks like they fixed it, but let me just make sure that's not, or that is the case. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like they've mostly fixed it. Yeah, you can definitely see that now. Okay. Before it was just like a big like white like blob, like a glow blob, and so you could just put stickies in the blob and nobody could see him. But it looks like they fixed it. But you can still sticky up like the top like this, or maybe the right hand side like this. And so if people come to this way, you can kind of just blow them up. Same thing with that door up there, right? Just sticky up one of the sides. Be wary that anybody that comes through Valley or whatever will see those stickies. So just be careful of that. Apart from that, there aren't that many sticky traps really. I tend to feel that like sticky traps on this map, you should put a couple sticky traps up if you're holding mid. Like if you've won mid and you're holding it, right, and waiting for them to push. But a lot of the times you don't want to like delay stickies. Like you don't want to like greed your sticky traps and just maybe sort of get a kill. You at one point, if they get through it, you just want to immediately start M1 M2ing and doing a bunch of damage. Your demo is going to be extremely fundamental on this map, kind of any Koth map, but this map in particular, because he can deny the whole area, right? Like he can deny anything that's on top, anything behind it as well, both lanes, and kind of pushing out a shack. So it's like if you can keep your demo alive and your demo can constantly just M1, M2 anything that he sees, you're gonna have a good time. Yeah, that's all I basically have. What's up? So if they're holding mid, let's say normally, right? If they're holding in the shack right here, the best way, honestly, is to do a run into shack and do a shack to shack type thing. And you just, you go from here, you go straight into here and just do a trade with a scout or maybe a soldier. Take the trade with the soldier and the scout. They're most likely going to have to flash their demo in this exchange, which is good. Unless their demo is playing smartly and sees that happens and they rotate back this way, then it's good. If they're in the Uber, like most times their demo's going to be played like this. And if you're fast, then you can catch the demo out and make them have to flash the demo, which is good. But the real idea with the exchange is you have the advantage, right? Because their combo is holding inside of a box, right? So once the exchange ends, you need to take control of their high ground and pinch them in the box, right? So your combo is pushing them this way, and then your flank is either holding up top or behind them, and then you pinch them in this box. That's how you win the exchange. So have your roamer be ready, so when the exchange ends, he can wrap in from behind and fight the guy that's behind, or maybe up top with the scout, and then you pinch him that way. So that's really the main way. You can just go straight through like main or whatever, and just or like saw and just kind of walk in and do a trade like this. It's obviously very telegraphed, so it's not the best. This is probably, if you want to be hidden, quote unquote, that's your best option, is getting through your shack and going into theirs. But you really just want to get through any doorway, and then you can take an exchange that way. Anything else? Cool. Yeah, I mean, you play this map kind of standard Koth like, right? Like you on Viaduct, you make sure that anybody that's going through the right side connector, that you have connector control, right? And then you make sure that like the enemy team that's bombing super high, like if they're landing behind, then you kind of ignore them and push forward, right? Because they're quote unquote in that like second or two, they're down a couple people, right? This is kind of the same thing. So if you have high like soldiers going super high behind you, then there's no real reason to chase them, right? Unless they're landing like right here, then in which case you should just kill them, right? But if they're landing like way behind, like over there, or going behind Valley and then getting the pack or whatever, then at that time you should push forward, because it's going to be a 3, or like a 5v6 or 4v6 or whatever the case may be, right? And in that case, you could probably get a favorable, numbers matchup, and then kind of steamroll that way. What's up?
I was a bit late. Did you explain exactly when we should bunker?
You bunker mostly when you have the advantage in Uber. Even if it's like 20% or something like that, bunkering as a medic is probably your safest option. If it's even Ubers, then like you could bunker, but you can also just hold behind. It kind of depends on how your team wants to play. The thing about bunkering is that your medic is safer, but if they do an exchange, you're more vulnerable. So it depends. If your team wants to be more aggressive, your medic plays out here on even Ubers, and you fight them normally, and then if you need to take an exchange, you take an exchange. Otherwise, if you have ad, play in the shack. If you have disad, play by one of the doors and make sure you leave.
Okay. Yeah. I understand now.
Yep. Okay. Anything else? All right, cool.
Well, what was this door called?
The one that I'm in here? This one? There's not really a name for it. Technically, you could just call it balcony, because this is what the balcony is. So you could say like balcony, and then your team will kind of get the idea. You could also just say, if you're holding point, you could just say right side, right? That's technically like that's how most of my teams have done it. It's just like right, Valley, saw, right, or Valley, saw, balcony. Is basically, or you could just go really simple and do left, central, mid, or left, central, right, right?
Okay.
Cool. Well, if you have any other questions or whatever, then just let me know.